10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is July 14th, and we're going to get started with some changes that are happening to the protocol. So the first one, almost definitely going to happen, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, is a change in the emissions, right? So as you all know, Rocket Pool started with 18 million tokens when staking went live. After that point, it's been inflating at 5% a year. Now, 70% of the inflation, or about 3.5% of inflation overall, goes to node operators, with the other 30% being divided between the oDAO and the pDAO. And the votes are going through now, which are going to drastically change the oDAO vote. So here we have this post from Pteris saying, does this look correct? Now, I'm not sure if this is 100% correct, but I didn't see anyone say that it wasn't, so I'm just going to go with it. So I know that you can't see it, but there'll be a link to the image in the description so you can go and have a look. But it kind of projects out the supply up to August 1st, 2024, and 14 periods after this period ends, I guess, because Pteris here is presuming that all three votes are going to pass. And he's talking about how the inflation percentages are going to change from going to the oDAO to the pDAO. So over here we've got a column, the node operator percentage is going to stay at 70% the whole time as things stand. And then the pDAO percentage will go from 15% that it is now down to 28.5%. That's just cut off on your screen, so you can't see that. And then the oDAO percentage is going to go from 15%, which it is now, down to 1.5%. So that's going to go down by 90%. The pDAO inflation amount that they're getting is going to go up by 2x, basically, pretty much. So the amount of RPL tokens that each group will be getting will go from 73,000 total inflation that is right now. So 51,000 of that goes to node operators, 11,000 goes to the pDAO, 11,000 goes to the oDAO. And then in a year and a bit, the way that it will look is we will have 53,800 going to node operators, 21,900 going to the pDAO, and 1,154 going to the oDAO. Now, the oDAO currently stands at 18 members. This is going to be reduced to 15 members. So each oDAO member is going to be getting less than 100 RPL every month, which is 90% basically reduction from where we stand now. So instead of getting around 500 or 600, here it is. So they're getting 609 RPL at the moment, and that is going to go down to 77 RPL by August next year. So it's a massive reduction. It's amazing, like how much is changing. And their reward in ETH that they'll be getting is going from 12 ETH where it stands now to 1.5 ETH, and in US dollar terms is going from $24,000 where it is today down to $3,000. So it's pretty amazing just how much is changing. And the oDAO, it's really going to be getting way less than it does now. So speaking about the oDAO, their vote changing, their amounts changing, let's talk about some other changes that are being thought of now in terms of node operator rewards. So we talked about this last week, where Waldorf and Nashua have been thinking about changes to the RPL tokenomics and starting a conversation in the Rocket Pool community about changes to the RPL tokenomics. So let's have a look at this GitHub thought that Waldorf shared, which is about RPL staking. So here he has this README that says, this is a draft, by the way. Before I say anything, this is a draft. These are just the initial sharing of ideas. This whole process is massively open to scrutiny, to changes, to a whole lot that can happen between now and when it goes to the community. So definitely keep that in mind when you are thinking about what I'm saying right now. none of this has happened yet. None of it has come to pass yet. So keep that in mind. And of course, there's a long way to go before any changes are happening to the tokenomics. And everyone who is staking with Rocket Pool will get a say on this by voting eventually. So let's see what we have here right now. So it says there's visualized rule sets. So here we have current rules, ppm of rewards, and then at 10% it's wait, let me see. Yeah, the current rewards, right? So it goes up to 150%, and you get rewards on that amount. And then with Noshua's rules, it will change, so everyone gets a flat amount, so the minimum of 10%. And then with Val's proposed rules, the idea is that once you get to that 10%, then it becomes like a sliding scale. So the higher you go, you'll still get more rewards, but you'll get lesser and lesser amounts per higher percentages you go. So here it says current rules, the minimum RPL stake is 10% of borrowed ETH. The maximum is 150% of bonded ETH, aka NETH or node operator ETH. And it says the node operator share of inflation gets split up per effective RPL. So the more effective RPL you have, the more your share is. So it says Noshua's rules are the minimum is 10% of borrowed ETH. There's no maximum because the only amount that is effective on your node is the minimum. Only that amount is effective. If you go below 10%, you get no rewards. If you go above 10%, you get no extra rewards. And it says the node operator share of inflation gets split up per effective RPL. And then this is Val's proposed rules, which is what he's thinking of what he's presented to the community here. He says minimum RPL stake is 10% on borrowed ETH, the way it is now. You must be over this threshold, including new mini pool to launch a new mini pool. You must be over this threshold at reward snapshot time to be eligible for RPL rewards, and rewards are based on weight. So if you're below 10%, your weight is 0. From 10 to 15%, the weight is linear. So your rewards will increase linearly up to 15%. However, above 15%, then there's a logarithmic curve rising forever but ever more slowly. And then the node operator share of inflation gets split up per vote weight. So the more RPL you have bonded, the smaller and smaller each RPL gives you in terms of vote weight, and then your vote weight will basically determine how much of the reward you get. So here's the proposed plan. It says take up the proposed rules above in order to, it says reward primarily based on borrowed ETH, as this is what Rocket Pool, this allows Rocket Pool to meet our ETH demand, and then discourage large-scale speculation while getting RPL yield from the protocol. So I'm just going to read the higher level points. So it says take up the proposed rules in order to, and then keep active rebalancing for good performance minimal. Importantly, there should be essentially no downside to being slightly above the minimum, including opportunity cost. This is move the minimum to withdraw 15% borrowed ETH instead of 100% where you can withdraw now, to the end of the linear region, and this minimizes how locked users are while also acknowledging that RPL is highly volatile. We don't want to encourage users to end up below the minimum used to start a mini pool. Keep some kind of time lock around staking to avoid gaming reward snapshot times. And then next is phase in the rules slowly. Then there's more detailed comparison between the new rule sets. So here there's some charts of the current rules versus Noshua's rules, and then you can check the graphs on the screen, or you can visit the link to see them yourself. And then these sections still require work. So the current rules versus the Val's proposed rules, and then the new proposed rules versus Noshua's system as well, and how that looks. So it says this is not the main comparison point, to be honest, so I'll be quick. The biggest gains are smaller with the proposed plan. The biggest losses are smaller with the proposed plan. There are more winners with the proposed plan and current allocations compared to Noshua's. And then this is brass tacks, the RPL value. Some people have mentioned fear along the lines of reducing the rewards for high RPL allocation. Node operators will cause them to sell and RPL value to plummet. I don't see this at all. Let's work out an extreme example with the current and proposed rule sets. We'll assume the worst case, a node operator with 116 ETH mini pool and a max yielding 24 ETH worth of RPL staked. For this first cut, we'll assume an unchanging RPL ETH ratio. Right now, this node operator is getting around 5.6% APR in ETH terms, around 8.08% APR in RPL terms, for a total blended APR of around 7.1%. With the proposed plan, they'd get 5.6% ETH, 3.08% RPL for a blended total of 4.1%. So fair enough, that's a hefty drop. But let's think about why our node operator is choosing a massive amount of RPL exposure, far above the minimum, 15 times more than the minimum. There's only really one reason, which is that they hope that the RPL value will go up. I doubt we'll find many bulls who are expecting less than a 2x ratio improvement in 2 years. We'll pretend it's smoothly linear and call this 1.41x per year. Let's use that and redo the example. So it says right now, this node operator is getting 5.6% ETH APR, 8.1%, let's just call it RPL APR for a total blended APR. So this is including the appreciation in the RPL token price of 33.68%. And it says with the proposed plan, they would get the same for the ETH, 3.1% for the RPL, and then a blended total will be 39.45%. So the argument Val here is making is that once you factor in the appreciation of the RPL token, then the amount that changes because of the appreciation of the token is significantly higher than any rewards that you will get. That's the argument that's being made here, because in the first system you get 33.7% rewards. In the second system, the new Val's proposed system, you get 29.45, which is just 10% less. But that factor of 1.41x really is a big multiplying force there. He says there is a difference here, but it's not dramatic because the main factor is ratio growth. So what do I expect if not a large sell-off from these folks? One of hold it anyway. They're here for the ratio gains. 2, they might put it in DeFi. An RPL loan might pay close to RPL yield at the minimum, for example, which could be over 15%. And if and only if the node operators were already uncertain about their RPL exposure, this might push them to sell some amount, and this could go into LEB8s. That could go into LEB8s in order to get much higher RPL rewards alongside the ETH rewards, or it might leave the Rocket Pool ecosystem. Finally, I'll note that this proposal helps attract node operators better. That lets us meet demand better. They may come back as improved fundamental value for RPL. In our example, it only take going from an expected 2x to an expectation of 2.19x to prefer the proposed plan. That's like, appreciation in the future of the RPL token, despite being literally the worst case allocation for this rewards change. So I think Val is really leaning into this point here about how it all comes down to the ratio, and as long as the ratio keeps improving, then your income will improve overall, or the worth of your crypto allocation will improve overall. Now that is the key point, I think, here. So here, these are still draft points, like why change? People entered with a rule set, so he's just some kind of comment and retort. So let's start with, like he says, I believe consistency is important. We shouldn't change things just because we can. That said, I also don't believe we should totally shackle ourselves forever based on past decisions. So he says, let's start with another question. Where does the current rule set come from? So minimum, the initial design was by FireEyes, so there was no insight into their reasoning as far as Val knows. Often used RPL price models to set the fundamental floor value of RPL. I think this is quite an important point that Val's making here as well, is that a lot of the projections of the RPL price kind of use this floor value and how that potentially isn't changing in this situation. He says when we add LEB8, we want to keep the fundamental floor value of those models unchanged. This is why we went with keeping a constant percentage of borrowed ETH. The maximum, the initial design was by FireEyes, and there was no insight into this reasoning. And then Val is asking, is this right? And talking about the stressful vote for the PETH, NETH for the maximum of LEB8s. He says during that vote, there were attempts to justify the original 150% number. The best reason I saw was that it served as protected speculation for heavily Rocket Pool RPL aligned individuals. There was an interaction with the minimum threshold to withdraw until redstone. It was possible to instantly stake RPL and have that effect rewarded. So if people could withdraw at will, they could get the benefits of max stake while only having the RPL staked for a moment. And then he's saying, is this right? Did we have a time lock before redstone? And then he says, keeping the rules the same, all else being equal, stability is good. Right now, we're rewarding speculation within the protocol rather than creating our ETH supply. This is not aligned with the protocol's needs. And he says that now that we're post-Chappelle, people can exit if the rules don't suit them, and this makes it less critical than keeping things exactly the same. So I'm just going to comment for a minute, and then I'll carry on with this. So the idea basically is that because when we looked at this inflation change, going back to Pteris' image, you can see that the amount that goes to node operators is going to steadily increase, right, over the coming year. In terms of RPL amounts, but then the idea being that a bigger percentage of this amount will go to those who are at the very lower end of RPL collateral. So if you start a node and your RPL collateral is, say, 12%, then you might be getting a lot more. I don't know the exact numbers, but Val will be able to tell you the exact numbers, but maybe double the RPL rewards that you're getting now. However, for those people who are at the higher percentages, the higher you go, the more the drop off of your rewards is. So you don't see that advantage. So that's what Val thinks, that this will attract new node operators, because they will, what they will do is come in at the minimum percentage, because they'll be getting outsized RPL rewards compared to their the amount that they're locking up. So this discussion, of course, is from governance. This is a brand new discussion, and this is still in the very, 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 very early stages of discussion in the community. So everything is subject to change right now. I'm making that really clear. But there's this staking discussion thread, which is a sub thread of research, and there's a whole lot of people who've already started to come into here and look around and following along with the conversation. There's already too much here for me to give you a summary of what's going on, but I'm including this in the links below, so you can join, you can take part in the discussion, and you can present your case and really share your ideas about what is what's going on, and keep that in mind, right? This is going to affect everyone who's staking with Rocket Pool. Whether you're at the lower end, your rewards will increase. If you're at the higher end, your rewards will decrease. There's definitely going to be changes that happen here. So it really, really suits everyone who's part of this community and staking Rocket Pool or has RPL as a speculation to take part in this discussion, and yeah, really, really understand what's going on, because it's going to impact all of us in one way or another. Non-fungible Yoakum here says, I'd like to think that staking RPL is a pretty long-term commitment. Right now, that commitment is based on the 150% withdrawal threshold and the friction of the beacon chain entry and exit. Reducing the withdrawable threshold with only 28-day time lock feels like it makes quick entry and exit too easy. All that said, the extra staking friction makes me less likely to increase my RPL stake, and that's something I think about. And then SNG says, great write-up. I'm still digesting exactly how I feel about either of the two new rule sets being discussed. But in the meantime, some general thoughts and feedback. Consider that our tokenomics are already damn confusing to most newcomers. E.g., consider how many people have been around for a long time but still end up feeling like they got burned by certain misunderstandings. I've read enough criticism surrounding this in Discord, Reddit, Twitter, etc. In particular, I'm a bit concerned about the idea of phasing in the new rules slowly. A dynamic rule change only further convolutes things. I'm not a fan of calculations that take into account speculative ratio improvements. No one knows what's actually going to happen, just because could just as well go the other direction, ? I don't think this should be used as justification. Also consider that any potential ratio gains are likely to see some impact with the updated plans. So while bulls might be expecting at least 2x ratio improvements in the next 2 years, does that still hold true if the rule changes and reduce the amount of inflation they're privy to? This goes back to using a speculative ratio improvement for justification. So this is just, I'm just picking out comments here, literally without any deliberate cherry picking or anything like that. Please go and read this discussion. There's a whole lot of it. that I think is really worth your time, because it's going to impact everyone, like I said. Yeah, so definitely go and take part in this discussion, and like at least familiarize yourself with what's going on, and I'll try my best to keep you abreast of the discussion as well. But I know that this is going to be a really fast-paced discussion, so if any of you are listening and you're in the submissions thread, please provide me with links in there, because it'll just make it so much easier for me than going and reading everything and like trying to stay on top of everything. So if you want this covered, please be like, the coverage you want to see, and link me those messages in submissions, and I will feature all of them. Okay, moving on from that now, we have some really exciting news, of course. So as you all know, there's 3 snapshot votes going on at the moment. And one of them was regarding the oDAO having to vote using their nodes. And something really great happened last night, which is that all 18 oDAO members voted in favor of the oDAO charter, which is limiting the powers of the oDAO. And that is absolutely amazing to see, because they're literally giving themselves a 90% pay cut over the course of the next year. And that's really commendable, right? That they've all voted in favor of that. I'm sure there was some social pressure, like voting as well, like not overtly, but as more and more people started voting in favor of that, it'd be kind of ridiculous for you to not vote in favor of that. And then after we got 10 votes in, then it was passed anyway, so it makes nice signaling that you voted in favor of that as well. That might be the slightly more cynical view, but it's really nice that all of the 18 members voted in favor of that. And let's just have a quick look at the other votes. So I know they haven't technically passed yet, but this is pretty much as close as passed as you're going to get. So the PDAO charter has 9,100 votes in favor and 29 votes against, with a quorum of 5,600. So that has definitely passed. And people with very, very big voting powers voted in favor of this. Then with the inflation rule change as well, that's got 9.2 thousand votes in favor, 54 votes abstaining, and 29 votes against. So again, and with 5,600 as quorum, so this is almost guaranteed to pass also. I'm pretty sure that it's going to pass, right? It expires on July 17th, but these are big changes that are going to go in very soon. So that's really exciting. And then that's some really good stuff. That this in itself is going to be a huge change to Rocket Pool. So that's going to be. I'm really excited to see how that's going to turn out. In practice, I'm really hoping the PDAO will use the new income that we're going to get to really help Rocket Pool grow, and whether that's through incentivizing RETH or RPL in different ways, that's going to be really cool to see. Okay, so as you all know, I've been giving some updates on different grants that have been coming in. Here, we've had 2 more grants that have come in today. One has been from Dr. Doofus, which is a Rocket Pool University, a website for Rocket Pool related catalog of courses with quizzes and NFTs POAP certification, focus on education and engagement with both Rocket Pool community and the broader crypto community. So there's an idea here. This grant will cover a website, or sign in with Ethereum, a database for courses and quiz information storage, a basic introduction to Rocket Pool course, and a POAP delivery mechanism for course completion, which might be manual to begin with, but hopefully becomes automatic later. And then it's being inspired by Ethereum Study Master, but it's being built from the ground up. It's an idea of helping people learn about Rocket Pool and how it all works. And Dr. Doofus is, put this grant application in 3 months ago, and at the time there were some issues, and now, they've put it in again. So there you go. That's the whole thing that Dr. Doofus is suggesting. And next we have Sleety, who's put in a new grant proposal as well, which is the tokenomics animation threads that Sleety's been putting out, and this is a grant for 6 months more of those threads. So Sleety will, so far released 4 threads. He needs to release 2 more threads within the next 45 days, and then that will go through. So he's asking for another 6 months worth of rewards. And I'm a GMC member, so I can't really comment, but here there's this person on Twitter who says this is some of the best info on Rocket Pool at whack. So I don't know who that person is or isn't, but they seem to be happy with these animation threads. So let's see what happens with with that. Okay, some more news that we've been covering recently is this Nexus Mutual vote. Now, there's a couple of things here that I don't fully understand, but let's have a look anyway. So, as the vote is going, they are voting to allocate 14,400 ETH from their capital pool into Rocket Pool's RETH, and there'll be a straight swap for ETH. Maybe a straight deposit into the deposit pool. I'm not 100% sure, but either a swap or a deposit for 14,400 ETH. And they've got like a really nice treasury. So this vote is going to end in 9 hours as of recording this episode, and at the moment the leading outcome is accept, but they're still pending. So let's have a look to see where the vote stands. So there's 2 votes happening right now. The first one is the members vote, and it says your vote weight is 1 Nexus Mutual token. I don't have any. In order to reach quorum, you need another 636,000 votes to come in. Or there's the second thing is otherwise the advisory board's votes will determine the outcome. So right now they've had 377,000 Nexus Mutual tokens voted, but that's only 37% of quorum. 100% of the voters have accepted so far, but it's still not reaching quorum. The next part here, it says the advisory board is also voting. So if the quorum is not reached, then at least 4 advisory board members must accept this proposal, otherwise it will be rejected. Now this is an interesting piece here, and I'm not sure of the rules exactly. So it says that 4 of the advisory board members have accepted it. However, the 5th one hasn't voted. Now it should be that even though the 5th one hasn't voted, this vote should still go through. However, I don't know if it's one of those situations where all 5 have to vote and 4 of the 5 have to do it, or whether it's like 4 and done. So I presume that it's 4 and done, in which case, this vote will pass, which is absolutely amazing. But there's a tiny chance where I'm not really sure, but I don't think it's likely that, we need that extra vote, or basically we need that extra vote, or quorum, of course, to reach. But at the moment, this is looking really good. And it's really exciting that they're hopefully going to be doing this, and I hope it happens soon. Let's have a look next. Going here, we have so as you all know, there's been a whole lot of staking is still going on, and people are still depositing their ETH, their RETH into the RPL into Rocket Pool. Again, today we had another whale who started a node, and they have 65,000 RPL that they've staked. And if we have a look at their node on RocketScan, you can see that they are RocketScan sometimes takes a moment to load. You can see that they've staked 65,000 RPL, and they are waiting to stake their ETH. So at the moment there's not been any ETH staked, but the RPL has gone into there. Now if you have a look at the but as more and more ETH comes into this, or as they start staking, I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. But one thing that you should know is if you're waiting to stake right now, there's nearly 6,000 ETH in the deposit pool, and that person with their 65,000 RPL will be able to take up all of that ETH pretty much if they want. I think even more than, let me see what their maximum amount is. It's right here. The maximum they can have is about 800 ETH, I think. That's the most that they can take with the RPL, I think. I'm not 100% sure. So that's as the protocol's still growing. We're still getting lots of deposits coming through. So far this week, we're at 15,000 deposits, which is the best week since the beginning of June. And yesterday, we had, today technically, with yesterday on UTC, we had 800 ETH deposited, which is a little bit lower than the last few days, but this has been a good week overall. So Rocket Pool is still going strong, and new node operators are coming in, new RPL deposits are coming in, and it's all looking really good. Okay, so if you're not using your RPL to stake, then there's more and more options that you can be using now. One of them is Silo Finance, which here Jasper was talking about with their tweet. They said, with Rocket Pool's impressive growth and the addition of RETH, Chainlink, Feed and Arbitrum, the RETH Silo is poised for growth. RETH and ETH depositors will also be earning Silo rewards, and then there's a link for where you can deposit it. Jasper says the Silo finance team have created an innovative system for isolated market leverage systems to reduce tail risk. On top of that, they work closely with Rocket Pool community since before launch, and he said check out these high rates. So with their boosted rewards right now, there's 145% APR on the RETH that you deposit into their system. So that's really cool. Of course, that number isn't going to last long. So if you want to get some of those sweet early rewards, then pop over to Silo Finance and throw some RETH in there and those rewards. Okay, finally we've got some news of a new Beacon Chain Explorer that is going live. So they put this post on ETHStaker saying, hi ETHStaker community, at the moment there's only one widely used Beacon Chain Explorer, Beacon Chain, the Beacon cha.in that we all use, all stakers use. We decided to create a new open source alternative based on completely different tech stack, Python and PostgreSQL. I'm not sure what that is. It says we also support new features like live monitoring, aggregating statistics for all your validators combined, and we also add free and tracking tool free. So what was their goal? They saw that although Beacon Chain was open sourced, there was some parts of their tech stack that was not open sourced, like Google Bigtable and HighCharts. And then so these guys are saying that they decided to create they use alternative free open source tools for those to perform those actions, and that their goal was that the Explorer should be easily forkable and written in a programming language that everyone is familiar with. So we decided to write the Explorer in Python with the Django framework. This makes it even possible to easily deploy the Explorer locally because there's no third-party dependencies. So here they said they're still in the early stages. It would be great if you could head to our GitHub, leave us a star, and follow the further development. We want this to be a community-driven project, so we're very thankful to receive your recommendations and feedback, feature requests, and improvements, etc. So here, the feedback on ETHStaker was pretty nice. People said, I like the layout of this modern beacon chain. Nice work. Is there vision for Praetor? They said, not yet. Nice user interface. Keep up the good work. Great job. That's impressive, Explorer and Snappy. Thanks for doing it. Fantastic stuff. I'm sort of baffled trying to add a validator monitor. I didn't see an area to type text or paste the list. He said, I found it. The entry area at the top of the dialog box just looks like a description text. It should more clearly say type validators here. It should not be the same color, similar color as the surrounding. But yeah, let's have a look at the Explorer. So I haven't made an account or signed in, but I guess this is what you do here. You sign up to monitor your validators. So it tells you how many of your validators are online, how many are queued, how many have exited, and then what your ranking is. And then, you'd get live attestation monitoring and sync duty management monitoring, and then there's some global statistics here as well for different slots, and as the epochs get finalized and proposed, and then there's news of the actual epochs as well, whether it's finalized or not, and where we are in that epoch, and all the information alongside that. And then there's information about validators and other settings as well. So if you are looking for an alternative to Beacon Chain that's free and open source and has no ads or any of that kind of stuff, then maybe ETHStakers.club will be the place for you. But I just thought I'd let you all know that this tool is out there now. So yeah. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to end today's episode and this week of episodes. I hope you all have a lovely weekend ahead, and I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.